Hello, my name's John, and I'm a storyteller. I love stories. I hope you do as well. And I've got lots of wonderful stories to tell you. I've actually produced a website with all these stories on, www.biblestorycards.co.uk. You can see all my stories. I'm also a bit of a painter, and so I paint pictures to help me tell my stories. I hope you enjoy them. Well, hello there. This is John again with another one of my great Bible stories. In actual fact, it's the story of Christmas sort of wrapped up into a message. I want you to use your imagination for a minute. Now, you know what happens at Christmas time? The Radio Times and all these magazines put forward their special Christmas edition. So you see something like this on the bookshelves. Bookstores, it will say, special Christmas edition. Good news, special Christmas edition. Well, I just imagined what it would be like if those newspapers that we have on our newsstands were writing the story of the first Christmas. I wonder how they would do it. Well, how about this? The Times, that's the most famous newspaper of all. The Times would probably write something like this: occupying forces, foreign powers, exploit the nation. Well, that's what was happening, wasn't it? When the Romans took over Israel and commanded that everybody should do as they were told and go back to their own town where they were born. And you couldn't choose to do it, you were forced to do it. They ordered you to do it. That's what the Romans did. They thought that they were in control. But they didn't realize that what they were doing was fulfilling God's promises, God's purpose, to send Mary and Joseph and eventually the baby to Bethlehem. Occupying forces, I think that's what the Times would say. And what about the Independent? Well, they would probably say something like this: homeless poor. Well, that's what Mary and Joseph were, wasn't it? They were struggling to go all that way to Bethlehem from Nazareth. And then when the baby was born, they had to take him all the way down to Egypt to run away from the wicked king who was about to kill him. They had to sleep rough. They had to go into that stable, remember, where Jesus was to be born in an animal feed trough. I think that's probably what the Independent would say. Well, what about the Daily Mail then? What would they say? Something like this, I imagine. Royal family row. Do you remember when the wise men came to Herod and they said, "Where's he that was born king of the Jews?" He was all very upset about this and annoyed because he thought, is there somebody else that has been born somewhere that's going to take my throne from me and get me out? I'll see to it that he doesn't. I'll make sure all the babies in Bethlehem are killed that are 2 years old and under, to make sure that we've got rid of him before he can be the king of the Jews. And then perhaps the Daily Mirror would say something like this: workforce exploited. Do you remember when the first message came that Jesus had been born in the stable in Bethlehem? It came to a group of shepherds looking after their sheep on the hillside all night long. That was a shock to their system, I'm sure. They didn't think anything like that was going to happen. To hear a choir of angels singing and to have an angel say to them, "Go to Bethlehem and find the baby that is born in the stable, because he is the Son of God." Well, that's probably the way they would put it. Good news? Not good news for them to be on the hillside that night until the angels came. And then perhaps we'd say the Daily Telegraph, what would they say? Well, they would probably say something like this: refugees, threat from the ruler. Do you remember how they had to get on the donkey and off they had to traipse all the way to Egypt, hundreds of miles? Refugees, away from their own country, even away from the town where they were born, frightened for their lives, with a little baby to look after as well. Whichever way you look at the story, the first Christmas, of course it focuses on Jesus. And whichever way you look at Jesus, he is amazing. I thought that was rather a good picture, didn't you? Amazing Jesus. No one ever like him. God's Son, sent into this world to be our Saviour. The best story of all.